Tristan, let's talk about your Kansas City Chiefs. They survived the Chargers, but they also lose their biggest weapon. Well, now in the wide receiver realm, they lost their biggest weapon last week with the 2 weeks ago with Pacheco, right. And now they're losing Rashee Rice. Can this defense carry this team to a title, even though they lost Rice today and they lost Pacheco a couple weeks ago?
You know, I'm a Kansas City optimist, otherwise known as a Kansas City realist. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm not trying, and you can speak if anyone's watching this show for the first time. First off, thank you. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate having you. Secondly, you know I am not an overreactor to my team. Like, I'm really not. Sometimes I might overreact to
everybody else's team.
I don't think this is an overreaction. It might prove to be. I don't think we have a shot. But I don't think they have a shot to win the title with Rice gone. You lose. It's not just Rice, though. It's Hollywood Brown, who you lost before the season, Rashee Rice, and Isiah Pacheco. Now you're in a position where you have last year's offense, but a little worse, really. It's going to be worse than last year's offense because at least last year you didn't have any receivers, but you had Pacheco. I am not trying to be dramatic when I say I don't know how the Chiefs survive this. They will manage because of Mahomes and because, as you mentioned in the question, they have an excellent defense. The defense is suffocating, particularly in the second half. I mean, they're one of the best defenses in the league. So I do believe the defense and Mahomes playing smart and Andy Reid, and by the way, Kareem Hunt, who looked fantastic today, looked like the old Kareem Hunt. Carson Steele fumbled for the second time already this season, and Andy Reid said, that's enough of that. We're going to Kareem Hunt. He looked explosive again. We'll see if he can keep that up. I don't know, man. I'm really actually interested to hear your take as an outsider, as a non-Chiefs fan. I'm sure Chiefs are still going to make the playoffs. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl with no receivers.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but I also have been bit by the Patrick Mahomes bug before, and I don't trust my intuition about the Chiefs. This is the only team where I think one thing, and it always happens the opposite way. So I'm just going to give you this. That's just all I'm going to give you. Because today, now I will say, the biggest opportunity on the table here is going to be for Xavier Worthy. This is his time to shine. This is his time to step up. We saw that today with a gigantic pass downfield for a touchdown. That was a masterpiece. Now, after that, they pretty much shut Worthy down for the most part. But you did see Travis Kelce step up. He was targeted 9 times, caught 7 of them. So it was nice to see that he was still playing and not just out there with Taylor Swift most of the time.
Well, this was proof that it really wasn't Kelce as much as it was they haven't needed Kelce. Obviously everyone had been focusing on Kelce, and so Mahomes has been going to Rice. But when he had no choice, he went to Kelce. Kelce got 89 yards.
Yep, and we've always said this, that Patrick Mahomes makes everybody around him better and makes them step up. Noah Gray today had a couple of good, important catches.
I actually really like Noah Gray.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a better than you may be anticipating, but I do think that the Chiefs need to go out and try to find somebody to replace Rice, because I don't think, I'm right there with you, because I don't think that Rice and Pacheco going down, you can win a Super Bowl title.
And Hollywood Brown. I know we forget about it because it happened in the preseason. But remember, that was supposed to be the offense. It was supposed to be Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice. And when you look at the Chiefs surviving without them, imagine what the offense would be with all 3 of those guys.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
You can't knock Brett Veach. He put the pieces there. You know what I mean? Injuries happen. The offensive line, the 2 tackles, shaky. We knew that was going to be an issue. But overall, they're able to survive the tackle situation because of how good the interior is. But as you just said, when you lose Pacheco on top of the 2 receivers, it's a hit, man. It's a huge hit. And even though Xavier Worthy is popping for a couple of those explosive plays, for the Chiefs to have a real shot, he's going to have to be more consistent. He can't just be the guy that can get you over the top maybe once a game, even though, obviously, he scored a touchdown. He's going to have to take on more of that Rashee Rice role. And also, hopefully they can go maybe near the trade deadline and grab a solid number 2 guy to put into the offense.
You forget one of the free agents out right now is Michael Thomas.
Yeah,
I know that he's older and he has injury history, but I'm just saying that may buy you enough to say, okay, Worthy can now, because if you look at how Tyreek Hill plays, right? he can hit those long shots, but he's also great at a route running standpoint,
Right.
slants. He can do it all. Worthy, he can beat somebody deep right now, but he's got to work on that the finesse of route running, being able to rack up yards after the catch,
and intermediate.
Things like that. And so you got Noah Gray. If you brought in a threat like Michael Thomas, and a threat maybe 2 years removed from a big threat, but he's still a threat nonetheless. If you brought in somebody like him, I think with Gray, Thomas, Worthy, you got a good shot at having a pretty good receiving core, especially if you can get up early and then force to run the ball with Kareem Hunt. You got a decent looking offense that could probably win you a few games.
See, I would just assume rather roll with Juju than I would bring in Michael Thomas, because even if Michael Thomas has one good game, he's going to get hurt immediately, and then we're just going to relive the scenario. You know this. You told me this like 3 years ago when we started the podcast. You're like, Michael Thomas is done, Tristan. You said he just gets hurt every season.
I'm looking at free agents, right? Instead of looking at like trying to hit a trade or something like that.
Of course.
Because you did make a good point before the show, like who's going to be willing to trade the Chiefs? They win all the time.
Right.
Who wants to make their season better? So I get that, but looking in the free agent market, you got that. You got Hunter Renfrow. You got Julio Jones. That's kind of your free agents that you're looking at right now. The best out of those, I would say right now, is probably Michael Thomas.
Yeah, it's not great. So I think you just kind of have to survive and hope Kareem Hunt continues to look like that. Hope Kelsey can continue to play that role while Xavier Worthy continues to develop and hopefully gets better as the season goes along. We saw that with Rice last year. As the season progressed, he got better and better and better. And now obviously this year he looked incredible before the injury. And maybe at the trade deadline, you can go and get a solid receiver from one of these teams that's just completely out of it. We'll just have to see how it plays out between now and then and how bad and or good it looks.
By the way, we didn't even say what the injury was to Rice. So
we don't know.
If anybody's listening to this show and they didn't watch any of the games yesterday, they have no idea what happened. So it's perhaps an ACL tear, that's going to be a season-ending injury for Rashee Rice, and it was caused by none other than Patrick Mahomes.
That's correct. On a awful interception that Mahomes threw, and then while the Chargers were returning it, they fumbled it, and Mahomes went to dive for it or something, and his helmet went straight into Rice's knee, ACL. First off, this is why quarterbacks, when you throw an interception, I hate when this happens, and I'm not blaming Mahomes for obviously freak things happen, it's football. Quarterbacks, when they throw an interception, don't go try to make tackles or recover the ball. You just stand to the sideline and the play's over. You see so many bad things happen when quarterbacks throw a pick and then they go try to get involved in the play. That's not your job. You messed up. Go back on the field next time. Problem for the Chiefs, Ryan, next 2 weeks, New Orleans Saints, and then you go to San Francisco to take on the Niners.
Ooh.
So it's not like they get it.
And then what? Is it bye after that?
I don't. Oh, so no, it's a bye in between. I'm sorry. So you get Saints bye week at the Niners at the Raiders.
Well, there may be your saving grace is that bye week.
Let's hope so.
You can at least have a break before you get your butt handed to you twice.